If an industry is made up of 8 firms with identical sales, what is the 4-firm concentration ratio of that industry? So the 4-firm concentration ratio. I believe is the sales of the top 4 firms divided by the sales of the entire industry. I'm going to Google that quickly, but I believe that's it. Yeah, sum of total sales. So we can write total 4-firm concentration ratio. It's going to equal the sum sales of top 4 firms. And it's going to be divided by the sum of all sales. It's kind of large E I'm using to denote sum of or summing across. So if we're made up of 8 firms with identical sales, that means if you divide 100% of sales, if you divide that by 8, that's what each firm has. So each firm is going to have 12.5% of total sales. We can just multiply that by 4 because we know the top 4 firms are going to have the same amount of sales. And of course, divide that by 100%. And we should be left with a 4-firm concentration ratio of 50%. Yeah, and our junior tutor has come to the same conclusion. Part B, downsize this a bit. Is this try that again, is this industry an oligopoly? Why or why not? So in this case, we would use something called the HHI index, which basically measures the concentration of an industry. Actually, I think the I in HHI stands for index, but I'm going to bring it up because I remember that the 2 H's are very long names of some very smart gentlemen. The Herfindahl-Hirschman index, or in my case, the Herfindahl-Hirschman index measures the concentration. It's a common measure of market concentration. These determine market competitiveness, often pre and post M&A transactions. I believe it's when it's less than like some number, it's competitive, less than 1,500 apparently. Regardless, we compute the HHI index as follows. So you essentially take the square of each firm's total sales and you add it together. So in our case, it is going to equal 12.5 squared for the first firm plus 12.5 squared for the second firm plus dot 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 plus 12.5 squared for the 8th firm. Knowing that there's 8 firms, we can just say that this is 8 for each of the firms times 12.5 squared, being their share of sales squared. Our junior tutor has pointed out that 12.5 squared is equal 156.25. So you can say 8 times 156.25. And our HHI index comes out to 1250. Our junior tutor says, since HHI is less than 1800, it is a competitive marketplace, but I thought they referred to it as 1800 in this document here, and that's how I seem to remember it from undergrad. Or 1500, sorry. Or am I getting myself confused? Yes, I am. So it's how I remember it from undergrad and how Investopedia defines it as when the HHI is less than 1500, it's competitive. They've got 1800. Either way, the number we come out to, 1250, is less than both of those. So according to the HHI, the Herfindahl-Hirschman index, this is going to be a competitive marketplace. We can move on. So Goodrich Porter and Star Connections are the only 2 airport shuttle and limousine rental service companies in the mid-sized town of Godric Hollow. Each firm must decide on whether to increase its advertising spending to compete for customers. Table above shows the payoff matrix for this advertising game. This is in reference to some game theory. Okay, so it's not that it's just not showing up on my screen, it just wasn't included in the question. So obviously the question cannot be answered. This is in reference to game theory. A dominant strategy is one that one player will play every single time because it's always the best strategy no matter what their opponent does. Game theory is quite interesting and can get quite complex. So I would recommend reading into it further if it interests you. Unfortunately, there's no example for me to go through here today. So that's in reference. These are both in reference to question 2. Question 3, suppose Walmart and Target both advertise that they will match the lowest price offered by any competitor. What is the purpose of such a strategy? And our junior tutor has nailed it exactly. The strategy of that is to attract new customers and hold the current ones. So they're going to hold the current ones in that people that already shop at Walmart know that if they see an ad for Target, they can just bring that price in and get their shop done all in one place. And people that are thinking about shopping at Walmart may be more incentivized to go there due to the lowest price matching that they may get at their other store. All right, that was question 3. We can move on